would start, but it's looking kind of funny, and I'm trying to figure out why it's looking funny on my end of the stream. So yeah, I'm not seeing the whole image. So let me, just a second. Don't know why the whole image isn't popping up. Hold on, let me see something. Sorry for your time being spent like this. Yeah, for some reason it's not showing the whole thing. I don't want to do a stream and realize that you can't see me. Give me a second. Okay, I see that it looks fine from what you're seeing, but on my screen it's showing that yeah, it's not showing the whole thing.
It looks fine from what
So
you're seeing, but
I'm just going to trust what I'm seeing on here.
yeah, it's not.
So, all right, I guess let's get started. So. I realized that in the last video that in the last lecture, after I showed the Roman news announcer, I forgot to turn my mic back on, and yes, so for the last few minutes you don't have any audio, so I'm going to back up and I'll do the last part of that, and then I'll continue on to the new stuff. So yeah, want to let you know that I am aware of that, and you know, I'm addressing it. And also, before we get started, something I wanted to point out is that, hold on, yeah, that's what I'm seeing. That's why it's looking all messed up. All right, so on Blackboard. Just a reminder, you can go to the content section, and I made a little update to something. So like this right here is for the video lecture. This was the original lecture notes that I distributed. However, I made a few updates to the lecture, so I have the updated student version, so I'll be, you know, taking this off the page probably today. But you know, anyway, I just want to let you know, go with the updated version. In you know, about 24 hours, that's going to be the only option you have anyway. So if you've got the old version, still go with the updated version. So let's get back to the lecture. Okay. So, we left off that where announcers have been used throughout history. Some of it, you know, for information, some of it from entertainment. Not going to show the video clip from last time, just because, you know, it's in the last video, and just want to keep it moving. Also, one of the differences between, say, print and radio, or print and television, is that radio or television can reach thousands of people, maybe millions of people instantaneously. So it does require a decent amount of skill, because you can't, you know, go back and change something, or, you know, dealing with mistakes is you got to be a bit more graceful in how you address an issue. so that way people may not notice it, or just be, you know, even better at your craft, better prepared, so that those mistakes don't happen. So coming from a broadcast news background, I was a news producer for a number of years before teaching at UAPB. A lot of time mistakes were made, but and like I think most of the times I probably wouldn't even go a whole week without having a clean week, basically meaning zero mistakes. Most of the times that didn't happen. So people just got used to functioning even when something wasn't quite how it should be, and you know, most of the public had no idea. So anyhow, moving on. So what is an announcer? So someone who speaks to an audience through an electronic medium. So what's that? It can be radio, television, cable, podcast. It could be closed circuit audio. What is closed circuit audio? So like say school announcements, or if you've ever been in Walmart and they, you know, call the, I don't know, maybe a worker to a particular area of the store. So that would still be, you know, a closed circuit audio. So, or even just something say, hey, the store is about to close in a few minutes. That's still closed circuit audio. So, let's see. Oh, also through electronic amplification. So if your voice is using some form of electricity to make it louder or to send it farther out into the world, then that's electronic amplification. So just speaking into a microphone at a podium, that's an announcement. Or say a ring announcer for some type of boxing match or church announcements. That's still an announcer is doing that. Now, some areas of broadcasting. So broadcasting journalism, that's what most people, you know, ideally think of. So news stuff. So you have your anchors, you got your reporters, your weathercasters. That's, you know, I'm sure you guys are aware of that. Also, there's sports play-by-play. So telling, you know, he passed the balls left, dribble right, fakes left, shoots, scores, all that type of stuff. But also analysts, announcers as well. Music DJs, public affairs. Now you're working, wondering like, what's public affairs? So sometimes, say even on a public access channel, or if there's a debate. So there's an election, and maybe the panel moderator, the person who delivers the questions and tells the person that, okay, your time is up, or same question to you, you know, and they direct the question to them. So that would be that type of thing. Or an interviewer, maybe it's just a one-on-one sit-down interview with, you know, all the candidates for a certain office. That would be still considered an area of broadcasting in public affairs. Nope, not done yet with broadcasting areas. So we have commercials. Yeah, the voiceovers. So that's basically when you see video of something happening and you hear somebody, you know, a voice of the person that is not on screen. So imagine like I don't know, a Pizza Hut commercial. Okay, you may hear Queen Latifah talking about the pizza, but what you see on screen, you just see, you know, warm, you know, cheesy pizza. So that would be considered a voiceover because you don't see her, but you hear her voice. Demonstration announcers. So one thing that comes to mind is, I think Home Shopping Network probably isn't even on the air anymore, or QVC is basically a channel where they sell stuff, and they have these announcers who talk about, oh, you want to buy this particular knife because it's got the whatever coating and the sturdy handle, and it's forged of such and such metal, and they're showing off, you know, whatever it is. So you can think of, say, infomercials, or those paid announcements that come after whatever show in the middle of the night. So those guys, demonstration announcers. Narration for documentaries. So you've seen a documentary any say animal documentary uses narration because the animals can't speak for themselves. So you have someone explaining that this animal is doing this or that because this is how they defend themselves or mark their territory or whatever, ensure their survival. So also, you've seen History Channel or, sometimes they have like gangland documentaries and all that. Those use narration. Special programs, game shows, interview shows. I know Oprah hasn't, Oprah, Larry King Live, maybe, I'd say Joe Rogan podcast. I think that would fall underneath that as well. But also people introduce feature films. So sometimes when this is more of a television thing, not like a streaming service thing, but sometimes if you're watching regular like cable television, they'll show a movie. Maybe it's for Black History Month or for Easter or whatever, and they'll have someone give like an introduction before the film. I think one thing that comes to mind, I think it's like Tom Hanks and like Band of Brothers, I think was the movie. Anyway, before certain segments, you'll see the announcer pop up on the screen, give some extra detail about the movie or about whatever's going on during that time period, and then they get back to the movie. So that's another broadcasting area where an announcer is needed. Now, here it says cable TV is adding more jobs for announcers, but also just the internet is also doing a ton. So yeah, cable TV. There's a bunch of cable TV channels, a lot of channels for every specific teeny tiny thing. So yeah, a lot of those shows may need announcers, and same thing with streaming. Maybe some I don't know if you've ever seen, maybe you buy some product and the instruction manual isn't an instruction manual. It's just a link to maybe a YouTube video, or a video on their website that shows you how to use whatever this particular device is. There may be an announcer, in that video showing you how to upload this or convert whatever. So still more announcers needed. So how cable TV started, well, just to give you a brief thing, it was basically started as a way to get better reception. So basically at this point, John Ralston, he owned a television store, but because of the geography of where he was, it was pretty hard to get a signal. So basically he ended up renting a cable from his shop to I think it was one of the relay antennas, and that kind of like started the birth of cable TV. So anyway, he basically did it just so he could sell TVs, so that way he'd have an image on the screen when people came into the shop. Yeah. So where was I? Oh, so yeah, a lot of these, like I talked about, cable TV stations, many narrow topics, fashion, golf, sports, maybe classic movies. So there's tons of channels, and even more than, of course, more than what I have listed here. Now, with industrial media or corporate media, so a lot of this is things that are made to train employees or to tell clients or potential clients about products. So, and also sometimes it's just to communicate company-wide news. So whether it's a meeting, or maybe it's like best, this regional office did better, during this particular competition or whatever. So a lot of this is used by government agencies, schools, prisons, military, businesses. So I know one example that you guys, I don't know if you are old enough to remember this, but back during the Simpsons time, there used to have this guy named Troy McClure who would always be on these instructional videos on how to do this or that, or the dangers of I don't know, oh yeah, dangers of, I think, like shoplifting or learning to read or whatever. So if you guys aren't too familiar, I have a link there. So in the PowerPoint handout, you have the same link, so you can go click on that. And also, I'll show you another excerpt from a training video. This is from a Arby's training video, so you can. Those of you who may not have had a job where you had to watch a training video before you actually started working, this is an example. I'm not gonna say a good example, a bad example. It's an example. So, yeah, let's see if I get this right and we get my audio back.
Why are you wearing all this Arby's attire? Well, I, for one, love Arby's. Well, today, I'm going to show you how to satisfy customers like myself in just 5 easy steps. Come on, let's take a walk down the Arby's Dream Road.
And I'm thinking this guy is maybe his first announcement job.
Step number 1. You're going to want to dress appropriately. Dress with a certain presence here at Arby's. I, for one, am not wearing the proper attire. I'm wearing the attire that you would wear when it's cold outside, when you want to go take out the trash, when you want to go smoke on your smoke break, or perhaps go smoke a J on your break too. Who knows what you want to do? But here at Arby's, we like to follow a certain code. So here is the proper way to dress as an Arby's employee.
Our first step, we will be looking at the proper attire to wear at Arby's.
This is a voiceover.
First of all,
see him,
you're going to
but
want to
you
wear
can
the
hear him.
proper Arby's shirt, the one with the farm animals on it. You're also going to want to wear some slacks and make sure your shirt is tucked in. And don't forget your handy dandy Arby's belt. Next, grab your apron and your hat that's provided by the manager for you, so we don't give away too much soda. We also have different sauces here at Arby's, like Arby's sauce, horsey sauce, ketchup, tangy barbecue, honey mustard, spicy 3-pepper, buffalo sauce, marinara sauce, bronco berry sauce,
Now right here we have our hand washing station. Now, we also have gloves here too, so, I mean, you don't really need to wash your hands if you have gloves. I mean, you're gonna make a sandwich, you're not touching it with your bare hands, you don't need to wash it, so just wear your gloves and you'll be fine. Nobody really cares anyways, nobody really checks, so just do whatever you want.
All right. Let's just stop there. So, let's get back to the lesson. Okay, so also there's videos for sexual harassment. Also something you may have seen, say, going into Walmart, where there's a screen, and I think there's one around the frozen refrigerated section. It just shows you different items that are on sale, and also I think in the around the medicine area, they also have some TV showing you about, you know, maybe some new fluoride toothpaste, whatever. So those are, you know, that's more like corporate television. That's not something that you're going to see, you know, on, you know, NBC, ABC, or whatever. But you're going to see it in a small, contained environment of maybe some type of training room area, or limited to within the store. So announcers are needed for that as well. So some responsibilities of announcers. The status conferral function. What this basically means is that if you are, you know, known, or some people may say, you know, local celebrity or whatever, people tend to believe you more, tend to give more weight to whatever it is that you're telling them. So the average person is, you know, going to be more likely to be influenced by some famous person or just somebody that they see on TV regularly or hear on the radio regularly than they would someone who they may see every day, but they don't see them like that. So anyhow, for example, if I don't know, Tom Cruise or Will Smith says something about Scientology, they might be incorrect. The Scientology founder people may be like, nope, that's not right. But Will Smith, Tom Cruise, they say this, so people are gonna, more likely, go with that. I know these are old references, but I don't know, maybe if it's some hip hop person saying something about going out to vote, it may have more weight than your uncle, Uncle Ed telling you to vote. So there's influence that they have. So it's not just celebrities, but your local radio people as well. Some other responsibilities: the emergency alert system. So announcers are required to give out disaster information. So there used to be a thing called it was the emergency broadcast system, but now just TV stations there, if something is going on, they interrupt and they have to tell you about it. Whether it's going to be the meteorologist coming on to tell you about some type of snowstorm or lightning or whatever, or it may just be a crawl at the bottom of the screen to tell you about the same information. It has like the beep and the tone and the whatnot. So also social commitment. This is one of the newer things that was added in the different versions of the textbook. Now this one says, I get the awareness of enlightening or confusing the public. So basically, don't want to confuse people and you want to give accurate information. Now, one thing that the textbook says that I kind of disagree with is helping build a better society. Like, Mr. Trammell, why would you, and this is my personal thing, why would you be against building a better society? The reason why I say shouldn't be the announcer's commitment to building a better society is because they may be acting in a certain way, thinking that they're building a better society and be, really gung-ho about it and, ignore a bunch of norms, and they may be wrong. So, as I'm just thinking about, especially journalism, because that's the world that I came from, is you're supposed to be objective and, accurate. So, that you may be, leaning a little bit too hard into one particular way or another about the building a better society. But that's in the textbook, and I just thought I'd, mention it a little bit. So something that used to be in the textbook, but isn't anymore, some practices that weren't always, that aren't, so good. One was payola. This is something from radio days where sometimes people would pay to have a song played just so people could hear it. So that's not how things are exactly done. But it has happened. And plogola. Now that's probably a bit more recent. So that's when you promote something that you have a financial interest in. So if I don't know, maybe, I'll give you an example, just a real life example. One of the stations I worked for a long time ago in South Carolina called WIS, one time we did a story on, I think it was like hybrid or gas efficient cars. And our reporter went to this particular car dealership, spoke with the owner and, got a lot of information about hybrid vehicles and, very informative piece, right? Good job. No, not a good job, because that car dealership was a direct competitor to another car dealership that buys commercial time on that channel. So then management talks with everybody at the station. They have a big list of, okay, these are the people who spend money with us. If we address any type of topic that, and that car dealer that did spend, money with the station, it was like, you guys come to me when you do this because basically they felt entitled to having that coverage for their car dealership because they also bought ads, commercial ad time on the station, which is not that there's no requirement to do that. So anyway, but station managers send out a list. If you deal with these particular topics, might want to give our people who buy ad time, our clients, give them heads up, or maybe go to them, and it's like that wasn't a good ethical practice, but that occurred. So but normally no, usually for an announcer or for a journalist, you're not supposed to be doing that, or sometimes, well, I'm going to move on. So some tips for improvement: practice. Just practice whatever it is that you want to do, what you're interested in. Just practice doing it. I know that sounds just so obvious, but it is. Whatever whatever it is that you're interested in, just rehearse it to the best of your ability. If you don't have an outlet, you can still practice it. Now, some things to do to help that practice and that performance: recording yourself. So with recording yourself, one, it could just be your voice. So you could just listen to how you sound, and I don't want to hear so many people say, "Oh, I don't like the way I sound." You have to get over that. So now, if you're doing some type of weird mannerisms, or maybe pronouncing words wrong, there's things that you can do for that. But just listen to yourself, how you sound. Maybe you sound angry and you didn't even realize it. So also recording yourself video-wise, so that way you get your voice, but you also get your mannerisms. Now, that's important because there may be something that you do while you speak that you are unaware of. So a long time ago, when I was in college and doing reporting and anchoring on school TV shows and all that, one problem that I had was, and this is not just on television but just in life, I had my eyebrows up all the time. So a lot of times when I'm talking, I'm doing eyebrow stuff to the extent to where, like, at the end of the day, my forehead would be hurting because I'm flexing my forehead eyebrow muscles all day long. So that's something that I realized after seeing myself on television, on video, that I gotta stop doing that. So also another example from my school days, I had a Spanish teacher, or a guy who was interviewing to be our next Spanish teacher, and when he spoke, he always did this when he spoke. He wasn't angry, it's just, I don't know, something about his upper lip just kept on jerking up whenever he spoke. And during his little audition and teaching us a class, we saw that. He didn't get the job. Anyway, also something that a lot of television stations have, or used to have, are talent consultants. What are they? They're people who go to different news stations, and yes, I'm using news as an example because that's where I'm strongest. But they have people who go, they watch your shows and they pay a visit to the station, and they meet with all the reporters and the anchors and tell them what they can do and how to do whatever better. So I guess they help. So ear training. Now, what this is just sometimes you don't hear bad stuff as far as pronunciation or diction or whatever, because you just aren't trying to listen for it. So this is going to be your first homework assignment of the semester. What you're going to do is I want you to find just 2 clips, okay? One of an example of bad articulation, bad pronunciation, maybe speaking too fast, something, okay? So just copy the URL, give me the time link, because it may be a 12-minute video. Not watching 12 minutes. You can just say from 5 minutes and 15 seconds to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. That's fine, okay? So there's not a minimum requirement. If it's like 10 seconds, then it's 10 seconds. That's fine. And also give an example of something that you consider, good speaking, okay? So 2 clips, just copy the links, and I'll have go to the same content section where you can find your files and links to videos and all that kind of stuff, and you can click there, and the assignment will be there, and just basically 2 links, and get that turned in. So just to practice, okay, just listening critically. So sometimes we just listen to stuff and people say bad things and pronounce stuff incorrectly, and we just let it wash over us, and then we adopt the same thing. So just practice listening. Is like, okay, is that how that's supposed to be said? So anyway, that's going to be your homework. It'll be posted. So moving on. Some other things that you should know. Last one for the chapter. Learning the equipment. So just knowing how to speak is not good enough. So you could be the world's best speaker, but if you don't know how to deal with the equipment that is around you, doesn't mean you have to know everything, but you have to at least know the things from you and a little bit outward. So because you may not know when something may mess up, or you may have to adjust something or whatever. Okay, so learn the equipment. Also, what resources your job may or may not have. So if that is, maybe they have some access to a video service, maybe some type of audio library. Just learn what's available for you. Also, I remember one example. In my first ever TV news job, I was a production assistant, and one of my jobs was operating the teleprompter. Okay, I thought once I, graduated from being a production assistant, I would never have to operate the teleprompter ever again. That is not true. So in one of my last news producer jobs, I don't know why at this station they did it this way, but the news producer, in addition to designing the show, writing most of the show, and during the actual broadcast, keeping it on time, and sometimes having to write scripts in a pinch in case some type of breaking news occurred, also had to operate the teleprompter. So if I didn't know how to operate the teleprompter really well, it would have been a problem for me. So so you don't know sometimes when you have to use equipment, or do use equipment that you thought you were done with, or that you thought, okay, that's outside of my job description, surely I shouldn't have to do this, but you might. So also editing. So knowing how to edit keeps you from being so dependent on some other person to do something that you need done for you, that affects your job, your status, your whatever. Same thing with writing. Yeah, most anchors I know are also pretty good writers. So because sometimes maybe somebody writes something, and as a producer I've learned to write kind of in another person's voice, but the anchor still may want to adjust something. Maybe they don't like the way something is said, or maybe this word gives them problems for some reason, whatever. But with writing, you also have to deal with breaking news and limited information, but you also still have to know the key points that you want to deliver to someone. So sometimes the news may be so breaking that you've got maybe 2 sentences, but as an announcer, but you still have to be able to present that in a way that is more put together than just reading the 2 sentences. Oh, that's it, and then just good night. So, with speaking of scripts, with radio scripts, they're designed to be heard. So one of the things I tell my TV practicum students when they were writing news stories is if it's going to be read aloud, then practice it aloud. So radio scripts are written to be heard. So if you're working on something like that, then you should practice reading that script out loud. It'll reveal if you have some problems with your script. TV scripts, same thing, written to be, seen and heard. Now what that whole seen part is that you've got the visual component with it also. So it's not just thinking about the anchor saying all the words, but maybe there needs to be some type of graphic that pops up at the bottom that has like a phone number, or maybe something that appears over the shoulder that gives you know, a visual image of whatever it is you're talking about. Maybe it could be like, I don't know, crazy cows or whatever. Or if you know that there's going to be a full screen that shows a map or an image of something, you have to put that, you know, your words also need to go with what that image that's going to be seen. So, and finally, having broad knowledge. This is something I learned back when I was in school about just generally people who work in journalism. What was the phrase? The phrase was, imagine, you know, your knowledge being a body of water, and it's better to be a mile wide and an inch deep. Meaning, it's better to have a broad knowledge, you know, a little bit about everything. Then it's better to be a mile wide and an inch deep than to be an inch wide and a mile deep. So that means basically knowing a whole bunch of knowledge, but about a very small specific thing. So basically having broad knowledge, even if it's not super duper 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 in depth, is a better way to be. So anyhow, that is it for chapter 1. There will be a test over chapter 1. It'll probably be in about 2 weeks. So I will, you know, I'll be sending out more information about that, so that way you don't have to just think that, okay, oh, it'll just pop up and there's a test on Blackboard. You know, I'll give you some advance notice. So anyhow, that is it. And yeah, take care.